Dear Level 1 students, welcome to lecture number 8 of Introduction to Accounting 1 course. In the previous lecture, we learned how to analyze and record accounting transactions in the journal and how to transfer the accounts to ledger or T accounts after recording in the journal. We also learned how to prepare a trial balance, all of this for services companies. Today we will apply the same steps of the accounting cycle, but this time for another kind of companies, which is merchandise companies. In this lecture, we will learn how, number one, recording purchases of merchandise, number two, recording expenses of goods purchased, number three, recording purchases, returns, and allowances, and number four, recording purchases discount or received discount. Now let's recognize the main concepts of merchandise companies. Purchases invoice, a document that supports each credit purchases. Purchases returns, a return of goods from the buyer to the seller for a cash or credit refund. Purchases allowances, a deduction made to the selling price of merchandise granted by the seller so that the buyer will keep the merchandise. And the purchases discount or received discount, a cash discount claimed by buyer for prompt payment of a balance due. So we can classify those concepts according the accounting base as follow: purchases اشتريات, normal balance expenses, normal balance debit بقى record in the debit side يبقى purchases goods أو purchases merchandise أو purchases inventory يبقى purchases normal balance debit لأنها بتعتبر cost or expenses. Decrease يبقى record in the credit side. Purchases return and allowances مردودات ومسموحات. purchases مشتريات. returns and allowances reverse purchases account. purchases normal balance debit. return والallowance reverse يعني عكس الايه الاكونتس. purchases debit يبقى returns and allowance credit يبقى record in the credit side. normal balance credit returns والallowance purchases. The purchases discount or received discount يعتبر revenue normal balance credit يبقى record in the credit side. يبقى purchases normal balance debit إنها expenses. return والallowance purchases أو purchases returns and allowances normal balance credit لأن بنعمل reverse أو عكس الإيه الحساب يبقى purchases debit يبقى return والallowance credit. purchases discount أو received discount normal balance وبيعتبر revenue وبالتالي credit. Now let's illustrate how recording some transaction of merchandise companies in the following example. On May 1, Lily Stereo purchased goods from Sadin Audio Supply for $3,800, terms 210 net 30. analyze these transactions. ليلي stereo يبقى الانتيتيز ليلي، يبقى ليلي باير المشتري، وسادن اللي هي السيلر اللي هو الايه البايع. ليلي purchases goods. ليلي purchases goods يبقى purchases increase يبقى record in the debit side. normal balance ال purchases debit يبقى record in the debit side. record in the debit side $3,800 in the debit column. account payable record in the credit side أو سادن audio supply. الcredit column amount record in the credit column $3,800. قليل السيريو purchases أو purchase goods on account أو on credit. purchases increase يبقى record in the debit side. and account receivable account payable increase يبقى record in the credit side، لأن account payable normal balance credit لأن liability. increase يبقى record in the credit side والamount in the credit column. to record goods purchased on account from Sadin audio supply. interpretations terms شروط 210 net 30 means معنى كده ان ليلي ستيريو هتحصل على discount purchases discount قيمته 2% تاخد 2% لو سددت الاماونت خلال 10 days. ليلي لو سددت خلال 10 days هتاخد discount أو purchase discount 2%. Transaction number 2 recording purchases of merchandise freight cost تكلفة الشحن. on May 2 ليلي ستيريو paid freight cost of $150 on merchandise purchased for Sadin audio supply. ليلي ستيريو paid دفعت الفريت كوست أو transportation in مصروفات النقل. يبقى record paid يبقى paid cash يبقى الكاش decrease الكاش normal balance asset decrease يبقى record in the credit side cash the amount in the credit column $150. transportation in of freight cost expenses normal balance debit يبقى record in the debit side transportation in or freight cost الامount in the debit column $150. to record payment of transportation in on goods purchased. recording purchases returns and allowances. قلنا returns and allowances reverse accounts. return and allowances reverse account. يبقى purchases normal balance debit لأنها expenses يبقى returns المردودات والallowances المسموحات عكس الايه الاكونت نفسه، وبالتالي purchases debit يبقى return and allowances credit. On May 5 Lily Stereo returns $300 of goods to Sadin Audio Supply. Okay, and purchases returns and allowances $300, and the payer Lily record journal Lily اللي هي الباير من purchases return and allowances normal balance credit لأنه reverse للpurchases، والpurchases normal balance debit، يبقى return allowance and return and allowances credit، يبقى record in the credit side purchases returns and allowance، الامount record in the credit column $300. يا ليلي ستيريو returns لمين؟ لسادن، يبقى سادن الاكونت payable decrease لان عملنا returns رجعنا لهم بضاعة، يبقى سادن للاكونت payable اللي هو سادن audio supply decrease normal balance credit لأنه liability، يبقى record in the debit side، يبقى account payable in the debit side record in the debit side account payable اللي هو سادن الامount in the debit column $300. Credit side purchases returns and allowances الامount record in the credit side $300. per explanation to record return of goods purchased from Sadin Audio Supply. Recording purchases discount or received discount. On May 9, Lily Stereo paid the amount due to Sadin Audio Supply in full. Lily Stereo paid the amount due، سددت القيمة المستحقة لسادن Audio Supply، سددت كل القيمة المستحقة للأماونت due لسادن. اوكي، بقى ريكورد in the journal payer، الباير اللي هو المشتري اللي هو ليلي، تعمل ريكورد الجورنال الاكونت payable لما ليلي paid سدد لسادن، يبقى سادن decrease اللي هو account payable اللي هو liability decrease، liability normal balance credit، يبقى decrease يبقى record in the debit side account payable اللي هو سادن audio supply. الامount transaction number 1 purchased Lily purchases goods الامount $3,800. Lily transactions number 3 returns رجعت لسادن goods merchandise الامount بتاعتها $300، يبقى الاكونت payable عايزين كام؟ $3,500، يبقى account payable record in the debit side لأنهم decrease والnormal balance debit لأنهم liability، يبقى record in the debit side account payable في الديبت الامount record in the debit column $3,500. cash purchases discount Lily paid الديت May 9. transaction number 1 كانت في May 1. Lily Stereo purchases goods from Sadin Audio Supply for $3,500. $3,800. terms قلنا 2%. لو هتسدد خلال 10 days، خلال 10 أيام. ليلي بايد سددت يوم 9 ماي 9. اوكي، يبقى ليلي تستفيد بالايه، بالديسكاونت، يبقى البرشيسز ايه، ديسكاونت. طب برشيسز ديسكاونت الاماونت بتاعته ايه، الاماونت بتاعت transactions 3000 and 500 dollars multiply 2% equal 70. يبقى purchases discount أو received discount discount أو purchases discount normal balance credit لأنه revenue أو profit، يبقى record in the credit side purchases discount or received discount. الأماونت $70. يبقى cash، يبقى paid cash، يبقى ليلي paid 3,500 minus 70 equal 3,430 $3,430. يبقى cash decrease، يبقى record in the credit side لأن ليلي هتسدد، هتبيت، هتدفع كام؟ هتدفع 3,430. يبقى الكاش decrease، يبقى الانتري record in the debit side account payable amount $3,500. record credit in the credit side purchases discount amount $70. الكاش decrease $3,430 to record payment within the discount period. الانتري ده نقول عليه ايه؟ compound entry، لأن الكريدت سايد قلنا record ل two accounts. Okay. Thanks for your listening, and I am waiting for your questions about this lecture, and meet you in the next lecture.